How come you've got a drink and I've got diddly squid? You've actually got 3 drinks over there.
I've actually got 4. There's another one in the corner.
Oh my God. You're a grotty bitch.
Thank you.
Wasn't a compliment.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
My microphone's a bit too.
Thank you for inviting me.
No worries. Welcome to my humble abode. Welcome to Mainly Murder with Meg and Mum. I am Meg.
And I'm possibly Mum.
Possibly.
There's no documented proof about this.
Well, we could
maybe
find
a
some.
birth certificate or something.
Possibly. So today we have the case by the title of Mary Bell.
Mary Bell.
Have you heard of Mary Bell?
No.
She's from England.
Okay.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know. Sometimes you know cases
It's
randomly.
like last night. Have you watched The Floor, that new show that's on?
No.
The question part, I couldn't watch it live. It'd do my fucking head in because it's just, people are just annoying. But when they get up and do the questions, and one was, the subject was flags. And I think the second flag that come up was the English flag. And Andrew, being a pom, he's like, England, it's England. How do they know it's England? And I'm like, calm the fuck down. No one gives a shit that it's England.
Yeah.
Oh, I got so excited that they, or angry, I should say, that they didn't know the English flag.
Isn't the English man just a big Union Jack?
Hey?
Isn't it just a big Union Jack?
Yeah, but no, the person had to pass, so they lose 3 seconds if they pass.
So Mary Flora Bell. Flora. She's got a lovely name.
She does.
Yeah, Mary Flora Bell. She was born on the 26th of May, 1957 in Corbridge, Northumberland, England. Mary was the second child to her 17-year-old mother, Elizabeth Betty Bell, whose her maiden name was
Elizabeth Betty Bell.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I think like Elizabeth Betty. Like her middle name wasn't Betty. She went by Betty.
Ah.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying her name was Elizabeth, her middle name was Betty.
No,
and
like
her surname
Elizabeth
was Bell.
Went by Betty.
So
Bell.
Betty Bell.
Her
That's
maiden,
even worse.
Her maiden name was McCricket.
Oh,
Yeah,
she was a
it's
little
cute.
cricket.
According to her aunt, Isa McCricket, within minutes of Mary's birth, her mother had resented hospital staff attempting to place her daughter in her arms and shouted, "Take that thing away from me."
Oh,
Yeah.
I did that when you were born too.
Oh.
I was like, fuck off, that's not mine. And they went, she's the only child born in this hospital. I'm like, damn it. Maybe she is.
You probably also weren't 17 when you gave birth to your
No,
second
I
child.
wasn't. Oh, shit, sorry.
Lady.
Anywho, please continue.
The identity
Cut all that out.
The identity of Mary's biological father is unknown, and for most of her life she knew her father to be William Billy Bell,
Oh my God.
as he and her mother had been together since she was a baby. Mary and her younger siblings were instructed to were instructed to always call him uncle so that her mother could collect government assistance.
Oh, heard a few people to do that sort of shit.
Betty's occupation was described as a travelling sex worker.
Oh,
She also
travelling.
travelling sex worker.
Why not just sex worker?
She travelled.
Where did she travel to?
I'll let you know.
Oh, okay.
Who specialised in bondage and sadomasochism.
Right.
They were her specialties.
Specialties.
Yeah, if she had a menu.
So if you rang up and went, I want the house
want Betty.
special, it's like
I think she was a freelance sex worker.
travelling sex worker,
Travelling.
thank you.
Due to her work, she was often absent from the family home, and she frequently travelled to Glasgow for work. So, like over to Scotland from England. And simply would leave
It's not that far, Megan.
well,
to Scotland from England.
yeah, like, shut up.
Okay.
And would simply leave her children in the care of their father or uncle.
Alleged.
Mary was described as an unwanted and neglected child. As a baby, toddler and young child, Mary frequently suffered injuries and household accidents while alone with her mother, which led her family to believe that either her mother was deliberately negligent or intentionally attempting to harm or kill her daughter.
Sounds like it if they were alone together.
Yeah, and she's always injured. On one occasion in about 1960, Betty dropped her daughter from a first-floor window.
Oh,
And on another occasion, she plied her daughter with sleeping pills.
holy crap.
Yeah.
She really didn't want it, did she?
No. But why have more kids?
Well,
It just seemed to be Mary, actually. Betty attempted to give or sell Mary when she was an infant to a German woman who told Betty that she was unable to have kids and was denied adoption. How someone's denied adoption, you're like, here, have my baby.
Wow.
Betty's sister had thankfully followed her and was able to retrieve Mary back.
Oh, my God. Why? You probably did Mary a favour if you let her go.
I feel like I wouldn't be trusting someone that was denied adoption and couldn't have kids.
Yeah, I wonder why she was. Did you?
It seemed a bit
drill into
dodgy. No,
Okay.
there wasn't a lot of information.
that? Okay.
Despite her negligence and abuse of her child, Betty refused repeated offers from her family to take custody of Mary. Even Betty's sister and brother-in-law had offered to adopt her.
So she didn't want her. She tried to kill her. She tried to give her away.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want the family who have
Having
gone, you clearly don't want her. We'll look after her.
And she said
And
no.
she didn't take that option.
Well, I'm assuming it might be for like the government.
The child
Yeah.
support, whatever. Yeah.
By 2 years old, Mary had completely shut down emotionally. She refused to cry as a child because she viewed tears as a sign of weakness.
I thought you were going to say she'd cop a whacking every time she cried.
Well, probably. Mary was struggling to bond with anyone and was described as cold and detached. She did not cry when hurt and only showed emotion when angry, when she acted out with violence. By the age of 4, her mum started to bring her work home. Betty...
Hang on.
Yep.
The travelling sex worker started to work from home.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
Betty...
That's grouse. I'm sorry, but that's the best one yet.
Well, it gets slightly bad.
She started working from
She started working from home. She brought it home.
Well, saves a bit of maintenance.
Betty was a dominatrix and started to involve Mary in her sessions with her clients.
At how old?
4.
Oh, you are kidding. Oh, that's
That's
disgusting.
fucked. On one occasion, Mary was taken to the hospital after losing consciousness due to ingesting a large amount of iron pills. A friend said that Betty was giving Mary Smarties.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It seemed that Betty hated her daughter and wanted to hurt her, but why didn't she just get rid of her? One theory is that the mum had Munchausen's by proxy, or she was making money off Mary through getting government assistance checks and her clients were paying her to sexually assault Mary.
Jesus, what a bitch.
She's a fucking... If anyone deserves the word cunt, don't cough while I say cunt.
Look, I got no problem with the word, but I did have a cough. I'm sorry.
Don't cough over me. Yeah, it's Betty. She deserves... she's a cunt.
Wow.
Both at home and school, Mary exhibited numerous signs of disturbed and unpredictable behaviour, including sudden mood swings and chronic bedwetting, which is one of the signs of sexual abuse. In 1961, Mary started attending kindergarten. She was described as always being naughty, a lonely child, and had almost no friends. She probably had no friends, as she frequently fought with pretty much everyone. She attempted to strangle or suffocate her classmates on several occasions.
Well, she was probably hoping she was going to get arrested and taken away from her mum.
Probably. On one occasion, she is known to have attempted to block the trachea of a young girl with sand.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here, drink this.
Yeah. Mary was also known to torment and even kill birds and small animals, and said that she enjoyed hurting little things that can't fight back.
Yeah, like what she was to all the little cunts that come in mum's bedroom.
Mary, however, did have one friend, Norma Joyce Bell. They did have the same last name, but they were not related.
Oh, it was a real person?
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say it was a pretend.
No. Norma was real. They became next-door neighbours in 1967 when Mary was 10 and Norma was 13.
Okay.
So Norma was 3 years older than Mary, but she was described as having a diminished mental capacity.
Oh, okay.
On Saturday, the 11th of May 1968, a 3-year-old boy was discovered wandering dazed and bleeding in the vicinity of St. Margaret's Road, Scotswood. The child informed the police that he'd been playing with Mary and Norma atop a disused air raid shelter when he had been pushed 7 feet from the roof to the ground.
Who did that? Mary?
He was unsure of which one of the girls had actually pushed him. That same evening, the parents of 3 small girls contacted police to complain that Mary and Norma had attempted to strangle their children as they played in a sandpit.
Wow.
Yeah.
What? Well, they've learnt from the best, so...
Yeah. That evening, both girls were interviewed about these incidents. Both girls denied any culpability for the air raid shelter incident, claiming they had simply discovered the boy bleeding heavily from a head wound after he'd fallen. We went there. We just found him. Further questioned about the attempted strangulation of the three young girls, Mary denied any knowledge of the incident. However, Norma admitted Mary had tried to throttle each of the girls, stating, Mary went to one of the girls and said, "What happens if you choke someone? Do they die?" Then Mary put both hands round the girl's throat and squeezed. The girl started to go purple. I told Mary to stop, but she wouldn't. She then put her hands around Pauline's throat and she started going purple as well.
Did the third not run for the... Why didn't you just run, kid?
Another girl, Susan Cornish,
Oh,
came up.
my turn next.
And Mary did the same thing to her.
Yeah,
You don't know how young they are either.
Yeah, but they was 10.
No, the girls. That they were.
How old were the girls that were?
It just said 3 young girls.
Oh, so I just assumed they were around their age.
No, I think they were younger. They're playing in a sandpit.
Well,
Anywho.
I don't know. It's just, but you would have thought if you seen one go, 2 go, you'd be like, fuck this. I'm
next.
not number
Goodbye.
3. I'd rather go run on the road.
Police notified the local authorities of the incidents and of Mary's violent nature, but due to her age, both girls are simply given a warning and no further action was taken. About 2 weeks later, at 3:30 p.m. on the 25th of May 1968, 2 young boys hunting for scrap wood came across the body of 4-year-old Martin Brown in an abandoned house. Lying next to the boy's body was an empty aspirin bottle. Aside from specks of blood and foam around his mouth, no signs of violence were visible upon his body. A local workman named John Hall soon arrived on the scene, where he attempted to perform CPR to no avail. As John attempted CPR, Mary and Norma appeared at the doorway to the bedroom. Both were quickly shooed out of the house.
What were they doing at the house?
Well, what do you think?
Well, I know they probably did it to the kid, but you'd think you'd leave the scene of your crime.
Well, they hung around.
Okay.
At school, Mary drew a picture of a boy lying in exactly the same position Martin Brown had been found, along with a bottle next to him labelled tablet. The caption Mary had written for her picture said, "There has been a boy who just laid down and died."
Wow.
Although a lot of the children had heard about Martin's death, Mary was the only one who had drawn a picture of it.
Well, she was the only one that was in the room.
The teachers just chalked
and did it
to her being affected by seeing his body. Straight after Martin's body was discovered, Mary and Norma went and found Martin's aunt, Rita, and told her, "One of your sister's barns has just had an accident. We think it's Martin, but we couldn't tell because there's blood all over him." And then they led her to the abandoned house. The next day
why was there blood all over him? I thought you said he had tablets and he was
didn't
just
have
frothing.
blood all over him. They were just like, "Oh my God, come with us. It's one of your sister's kids. There's blood everywhere."
Okay, that's what I thought. You said he was just frothing.
Yeah,
at
they
the
didn't.
mouth
There was
and
just
whatever.
like
little.
The next day on the 26th of May, which was Mary's 11th birthday,
Oh, happy birthday, Psycho.
Mary and Norma broke in and vandalised a nursery, like a kindergarten.
God almighty.
They broke in through the roof. They tore up books, upturned desks and chairs, and smeared ink and paints all over the place. The next day, the staff arrived and were shocked. Imagine
They
it was
were
like,
shocked.
wow, closing
Someone
shift,
broke-
everyone was fine.
Yeah.
Opening, there's shit everywhere.
Yeah, they were shocked.
They were
Megan.
shocked.
They were shocked.
They found 4 separate notes around the nursery that read, "I murder so that I may come back. We did murder Martin Brown. Fuck off, you bastard."
Wow.
So many spelling mistakes as well.
Well, that's not a problem.
Well, this one was futch off.
Futch off.
F-U-C-H.
Nothing worse with futching.
Futch off, we murder. Watch out, Fanny and faggot. And the last one said, "You are mice. Why? Because, B-E-C-U-R-S-E. You are mice. Why? Because we murdered Martin. Go Brown. You bet. Look out. There are murders about by Fanny and old faggot you screws."
Right.
So very coherent.
So the police went, it is either a mentally disabled person or it's a child.
The girls would also torment Martin's aunt. They would knock on her door and would ask if she was sad Martin was dead and if she missed him.
Oh, my God.
They do worse.
Oh, but then if someone did that, I wouldn't open the door. I'd look down and go, oh, there's those two little turdy little shits again. I'm not answering the door to them.
2 days later, on the 29th of May, Mary went and knocked on the door of Martin's mother's house. Mary asked if she could see Martin. Thinking perhaps the girl was somehow unaware of her son's tragedy, she told Mary, "No, pet, Martin's dead." To which Mary replied, while smiling, "Oh, I know he's dead. I wanted to see him in his coffin."
Oh, yuck.
She's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, well, Mum started this at 4 years of age.
Yeah, like you can see how fucked up like she was brought up. But just like to be like, "Oh no, I want to see him in his coffin." Like, what?
Yeah, we've got it in the lounge room. Come in.
Well, it's in England. Do they do the same thing as Ireland where they have like the
fuck
dead
if
in
I
there?
know, but they don't keep them forever. Surely to God.
Martin's mother was shocked at the words coming out of this 11-year-old girl's mouth and slammed the door in her face.
Did you say fuck off, weirdo? Bang.
Along with drawing odd pictures, Mary was going around bragging to her families and other children at school that she had killed Martin Brown.
Well, she's obviously proud.
Yeah, obviously.
Work well done.
Although no official investigation began for Martin's death, a doctor that viewed the body did comment to the investigators that it would be possible for another child to have strangled him to death without any signs of violence.
Well, surely fingerprint, like marks on your neck. Don't normally when people choke,
Yeah, but like
they leave
he's
prints?
saying like a child and a child, it wouldn't be enough. It'd be enough force to kill them, but it probably wouldn't have been enough force to leave the bruises. Like you wouldn't have seen signs.
Because I was going to say, yeah, you would have thought the bruising would have been of another little hand going. It was either a woman or
A child.
a child.
No, it just reminded me of that fucking Vine that was from years ago. And it was like, there's a niche group audience. Your generation probably won't get it.
Fucking rude.
And there's this guy and he's like, "What's worse than a rapist?" And he pulls the tape down and it says a child rapist. And the guy's like, "A child." Anyway, if you got that joke, let me know. On
oh my God.
the afternoon of July 30th.
Hey, wait, go back. How was that funny or a joke?
You had to be there.
Fucking clearly.
A child.
Oh.
So on the afternoon of July.
If you're in my generation and think they're all fucked, please write a note as well. That's stupid.
On the afternoon
On your afternoon.
of July 31st, 1968,
Yep.
a 3-year-old boy named Brian Howe was last seen by his parents in the street outside his house playing with one of his siblings, the family dog, and Mary and Norma Bell.
Oh, God. What was a 3-year-old doing playing with an 11-year-old?
Well, it said one of his siblings, the family dog, and the two. So maybe, I don't know if the sibling was older. When he did not return home later that afternoon, concerned relatives and neighbours searched the streets without success. On their way back home, Mary ran into Brian's sister and offered to help her look for Brian.
In the place she put him?
In the opposite place.
Oh, okay.
She was like, "Let's look over there." And then knowing he's over there.
Of course she did.
At 11:10 p.m, a search party discovered Brian's body between two large concrete blocks upon the Tin Lizzie. The Tin Lizzie it sounded like a dump, people just chucked all their rubbish there. The first policeman to arrive at the scene observed that a deliberate but feeble attempt was made to conceal the body, which was covered with clumps of grass and weeds. Found near his body was a pair of scissors and a lock of his hair. Police found that he had been strangled, his legs cut, his calves punctured, and the killer had tried to cut off his penis.
Oh, my God.
The letter M had also been cut into his stomach.
Why M? For Mary.
Well,
It was me.
yeah,
I did it.
pretty
Prove it.
dumb.
Well, there's initials MB on there, so...
The relatively small amount of force used to murder the child led the coroner to conclude that the killer was another child. Numerous grey and...
They're so fucked up.
11 and you're a fucking serial killer.
Yeah.
Numerous grey and maroon fibres were discovered upon Brian's clothing and shoes. These fibres did not source from any clothing within the Howe household and had been transferred to the child by his killer. The discovery of Brian Howe's body sparked a large-scale manhunt. Over 100 detectives from across Northumberland were assigned to the investigation, and more than 1,200 children had been questioned, and a lot of their interviews resulted in the same two names coming up frequently.
Of weirdos.
Mary Bell and Norma Bell. During their first interview, Norma seemed excited, whereas Mary was more reserved. Although both girls were evasive and contradictory in their initial statements, they freely admitted to having played with Brian on the date of his death, but denied having seen him after lunchtime. Questioned further the following day, Mary stated she remembered seeing an 8-year-old local boy playing with Brian on the afternoon of July 31st, and she also had seen him hitting the child.
Yeah, should be a reliable witness.
Furthermore, she stated she also remembered that the boy had been covered in grass and weeds, as if he'd been rolling in the field, and he had in his possession a small pair of scissors.
This Mary Bell told the police all this shit.
Yeah. She's like, I
Kids
saw a
aren't
guy.
smart, are they? And they had the scissors and they had here's everything that you found. Let me explain it all.
I think the boy's name started with M.
Yeah, let me just explain it all for you. Case closed. Let's go play.
Mary stated, I saw him trying to cut a cat's tail off with the scissors, but there was something wrong with them. One leg was broken or bent. The boy that Mary had named was quickly questioned, and it was discovered that he had been at Newcastle International Airport on the afternoon of July 31st, with numerous witnesses able to corroborate this.
Wasn't him with his scissors and everything else going on?
Well, now Mary had put herself at the scene of the crime by perfectly describing the scissors that were found at the crime scene, which only the police had known about.
And
This put Mary in the prime position of suspect number 1.
Numero uno.
Number 5, suspect number 1.
Oh.
Days later.
I've got a headache.
No wonder a drink.
No wonder.
Days later at Brian Howe's funeral, there were many in attendance, including Mary.
Oh, for God's sake.
And
where was Mum? What happened to Mum?
Probably
Mum's
fucking
still
somebody.
Travelling? She's still travelling with her legs spread? What?
She works from home now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Forgot. Sorry.
Detective Chief Inspector James Dobson of the Newcastle Police. So he was at the funeral as well. DCI James...
What, to see if Mary was giggling? She was probably in the background going, we did that. Fucking little bitch.
DCI James Dobson said, Mary was standing in front of the Howe's house when the coffin was brought out. I was, of course, watching her. And it was when I saw her there that I knew I did not dare risk another day. She stood there laughing.
I was right.
Laughing and rubbing her hands together.
Oh, you little Mrs. Burns.
I thought, my God, I've got to bring her in or she'll do another one.
Of course she will. And her mad mate.
How do you, what would she be doing?
She'd be there going.
Like an evil little fucking fly.
I did that, yeah. Oh.
On the afternoon of August 4th, the parents of Norma Bell contacted police stating their daughter wished to confess what she knew of the death of Brian Howe. DCI Dobson arrived at their house, formally cautioned Norma, and then asked what she knew. Norma then informed Dobson that Mary had taken her to a spot on the Tin Lizzie, at which point she had been shown Brian's body. Mary had then demonstrated to her how she had strangled the child.
Oh, so Norma wasn't with her, allegedly, when it happened.
She apparently wasn't there, but was maybe there, or Mary got her later.
Okay.
According to Norma, Mary had confessed to her that she had enjoyed strangling the child before describing how she had inflicted the score marks on his stomach with a razor blade, which had been hidden at the crime scene, and the broken scissors. Norma then led police to the crime scene and revealed the location where the razor blade was hidden.
Have their fingerprints on it?
It was 1960. Did they do fingerprints then?
I don't know. It wasn't one of my trivia questions.
A drawing Norma made of the wounds inflicted to the boy's abdomen precisely matched those described by the coroner. On the 5th of August, Mary was arrested at her home. On this occasion, she was notably defensive when confronted with the discrepancies in her previous statement, informing detectives, "You're trying to brainwash me. I will get a solicitor to get me out of this."
Cocky little fucking 11-year-old.
During this interview, the detectives were stunned by Mary's intelligence level. They described her as cunning despite her age, and she seemingly anticipated the questions before the police even asked them. Later that same day, Norma was questioned again. On this occasion, she made a full statement in which she had admitted to being present when Mary had actually strangled Brian.
Oh, so she was there.
According to Norma, when the trio were alone...
But Norma's a bit slow, isn't she?
She was, yeah.
She was something not quite right. Bit NQR.
Diminished mental capacity.
Yeah.
NQR, I used to love that shop.
Anyway, focus.
According to Norma, when the trio were alone on the Tin Lizzie, Mary seemed to go all funny, pushing the child into the grass and attempting to strangle him before stating to her, "My hands are getting thick. Take over." Norma then ran from the scene, leaving Mary and Brian alone. They confronted Mary with Norma's statement, and Mary said that Norma was a liar.
Of course she was.
Mary said, "I am making no statements. I have made a lot of statements. It's always me you come for. Norma's a liar. She's always trying to get me in trouble." DCI Dobson thought he was getting no closer to a confession from Mary, so he decided to change tactics. He informed Mary that there was a man that had seen her at the crime scene and would be able to identify her. Mary's response was, he would have to have had good eyesight. Dobson asked, why would he have needed to have good eyesight? Mary replied, because he was clever to see me when I wasn't there.
Oh, fucking hell.
She was...
Jesus Christ, she was a cock. That's sort of shit adults come out with.
So she's
not a freaking smart ass little 11-year-old.
Well, you see her upbringing. She probably had to.
Yeah, no, she's old. She's what is it? Old beyond her years or whatever. But still, this is next level.
Yeah,
to be such a smart ass like
to
police like that. Yeah,
to a detective in a murder investigation.
Yeah, most kids would crap themselves if the cops rolled up at their doorstep.
Yeah, well, fucking Logan. Told him the pants police were coming because he took his pants off. He was not having it. He was very sad and got very cuddly.
You're an idiot. Bloody pants police.
He took his pants off and I was like, where's your pants? I can see your ass crack. Call the pants police.
He had his little bum cheek out one side. It was cute.
He's got the cutest little bum.
Anyway, focus.
During her interview, at one point, the police officer asked Mary what she wanted to be when she grew up.
Killer.
Mary replied that she wanted to become a nurse so that she could stick needles into people. She thought the idea of getting paid to hurt people sounded terrific.
Hurt people? I'm sure all the nurses out there are going, no, not quite why we do it.
Like, you don't want to hurt people.
No, that's right. We hurt people to help people.
Yeah.
Or to save people.
Have you seen an epidural needle? That fucking hurts, but it helps.
It helps.
A forensic examination of clothing owned by both girls revealed that the grey fibres discovered upon Brian's bodies were a precise match to a woolen dress owned by Mary, and the maroon fibres upon the child's shoes were a precise match to a skirt owned by Norma. Both girls were formally charged with the murder of Brian Howe at 8 p.m. that evening. In response to this charge, Mary replied, "That's all right by me," and Norma burst into tears. As
you would.
Which is normal.
And were either of their parents around?
Oh, we'll get to that.
Okay. I was going to say, surely being 11-year-olds, they had to have an adult with them.
The following is Mary Bell's official statement.
Okay. Brace yourself.
Ahem.
How's it go? Ahem.
Ahem. That hurt. I, Mary Flora Bell, wish to make a statement. I want someone to write down what I have to say. I have been told that I need not say anything unless I wish to do so, but whatever I may say be given in evidence. Brian was in his front street and me and Norma were walking along towards him.
Should have been Norma and I, but okay.
She's 11.
Oh, she's also a fucking killer. Don't give a shit.
Doesn't mean she's grammatically correct.
Well, obviously not.
We walk past him and Norma says, "Are you coming to the shop, Brian?" And I say, "Norma, you've got no money. How can you go to the shop? Where are you getting it from?" She says, "Nebby, keep your nose clean." Little Brian followed and Norma says, "Walk in front." I wanted Brian to go home, but Norma kept coughing so Brian wouldn't hear us. We went down Cross Hill Road with Brian still in front of us. There was this coloured boy and Norma tried to start a fight with him.
Oh, Norma.
She said, this is a quote from Mary that was apparently quoted by Norma. She said, "Darky, whitewash. It's time you got washed."
Oh my God.
The big brother came out and hit her. She said, How way, put your dukes up. The lad walked away and looked at her as though she was a daft. I love daft, like as an insult. You're a bit daft.
Oh, yeah, you are.
We went beside...
I'm going to have to try and remember that one.
Daft.
When you've
Just a bit
been a
daft.
dick at work and go, God, you're daft.
Yeah.
Then you'll just lose your shit.
Uh,
All right, come on, Dafty.
we went beside Dixon's shop and climbed over the railings, through a hole and over the railway. Then I said, Norma, where are you going? And Norma said, do you know that little pool where the tadpoles are? When we got there, there was a big long tank with a big round hole with little holes around it. Norma says, Brian, are you coming in here? Because there's a lady coming on the number 82 and she's got boxes of sweets and that. We all got inside. Then Brian started to cry and Norma asked him if he had a sore throat. She started to squeeze his throat and he started to cry. She said, this isn't where the lady comes. It's over there by them big blocks. We went over to the blocks and she says, you'll have to lie down. And he lay down beside the blocks where he was found. Norma says, put your neck up, and he did. Then she got hold of his neck and said, put it down. She started to feel up and down his neck. She squeezed it hard. You could tell it was hard because her fingertips were going white. Brian was struggling and I was pulling her shoulders, but she went mad. I was pulling her chin up and she screamed at me. By this time, she had banged Brian's head on some wood or corner of wood and Brian was lying senseless. His face was all white and bluey and his eyes were open. His lips were purplish and had all like saliva on it. It turned into something like fluff. Norma covered him up and I said, Norma, I've got nothing to do with this. I should tell on you,
Oh, my God.
but I'll not. Little Lassie was there and it was crying.
Little what?
Little Lassie, like a dog,
Oh.
was there and it was crying. And she said, don't you start, I'll do the same to you. It still cried and she went to get hold of its throat, but it growled at her. I said, now, don't be hasty.
Oh, my
There's
God.
more.
Is this kid alive still? This woman?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, she is. We went home and I took little Lassie home and all. Norma was acting kind of funny and making twitching faces and spreading her fingers out. She said, this is the first, but it'll not be the last.
Oh, my God.
I was frightened. I carried Lassie and put her down over the railway and we went up Crosswood Road way. Norma went into the house and she got a pair of scissors and she put them down her pants. She says, go and get a pen. I said, no, what for? She says, to write a note on his stomach, but I wouldn't get the pen. She had a Gillette razor blade. It had Gillette on it.
Okay.
We went back to the blocks and
Made
Norma
it
cut his hair. She tried to cut his leg and his ear with the blade. She tried to show me it was sharp. She took the top of her dress where it was raggy and cut it. It made a slit. A man came down the railway bank with a little girl with long blonde hair. He had a red checkered shirt on and blue denim jeans. I walked away. She hid the razor blade under a big square concrete block. She left the scissors beside him. She got out before me over the grass onto Scotswood Road. I couldn't run on the grass because I had my black slippers on. When we got along a bit, she says, May, you shouldn't have done that because you'll get into trouble. And I hadn't done nothing. I haven't got the guts.
Oh, for God's sake.
I couldn't kill a bird by the neck or throat or anything. It's horrible, that. We went up the steps and went home. I was nearly crying. I said, if Pat finds out, she'll kill you. Never mind killing Brian, because Pat's more like a tomboy. She's always climbing in the old buildings and that. Later on, I was helping to look for Brian, but I was trying to let on to Pat that I knew where he was on the blocks. But Norma said, he'll not be over there. He never goes over there. And she convinced Pat he wasn't there. I got shouted in about 7:30 and I stayed in. I woke up about 11:30 and we stood at the door as Brian had been found. The other day, Norma wanted to get put in a home. She says, will you run away with us? And I said, no. She says, if you get put in a home, you feed the little ones and murder them when they run away again.
What?
I have read the above statement and I have been told that I can correct, alter or add anything I wish. This statement is true. I have made it of my own free will. Mary Flora Bell.
Luna fucking tick. Did they put that underneath it and get her to sign it?
After reading her statement, Detective Dobson was not convinced that Norma was the one who
You
committed
start
the
laughing.
murder.
You'd laugh
You
when you
dumb
read it.
bitch.
You'd be like, seriously?
He knew that Mary was the alpha in their friendship. Shortly after their arrest, both girls underwent psychological evaluations.
Oh, that would have been interesting if he was doing that testing on this psycho.
Yeah, they were like, she's 11?
She's 11, yeah. She's got a brain of a 30-year-old.
The results of these tests revealed Norma was intellectually delayed and a submissive character who easily displayed emotion, whereas Mary was a bright yet cunning character prone to sudden mood swings. The 4 psychiatrists who examined Mary...
4.
What,
they weren't sure the first time? They went, nah, this kid's unreal.
Come have a look at this.
Yeah, come meet this kid. She's going to be in the history books. Let's go.
They included that although not suffering from a mental disorder, she suffered from a psychopathic personality disorder. In his official report compiled for the District of Public Prosecutions, David Westbury concluded, Mary's social techniques are primitive and take the form of automatic denial, ingratitude, manipulation, complaining,
There you go, Dane. Is your word for the week.
bullying, flight, or violence. Psychiatrists also noted a lack of empathy, remorse, or guilt, and poor impulse control. So the girls' trial started on the 5th of December 1968 before Mr. Justice Cusack and a jury, and it lasted 9 days.
Surprised it lasted that long.
Wow. Yeah. During the trial, Mary was calm and was acting as if she had no idea what she was being accused of. She was wriggling around in her seat and even turned around to ask if she could have some candy. During the trial, Norma was asked if Mary had ever described or shown her how to kill someone. Norma said yes, and Mary flew into a fit of rage, and everyone could see that Norma was now visibly terrified. During Mary's time on the stand, she was asked if she truly felt Norma had committed this terrible act and if she was scared that Norma might hurt her. Mary said, she would not dare because I would turn around and punch her in the nose.
Oh.
But you're so scared and you think that she murdered someone?
Yeah, that's right.
While Norma had many family members at the trial for support, Mary had her mother and Billy. So her mum and the stepdad were there.
Stepdad. Well, even though she was a travelling saleswoman.
Travelling sex worker.
Same difference.
So, she was selling sex.
She was selling sex, correct.
Betty disturbed the proceedings with her wailing and sobbing, her long blonde wig slipping off her head. She looked like a poorly played character in a low-budget soap opera.
Oh, God.
She stormed out during the trial only to dramatically reappear moments later. Her father, Uncle Billy, was just sitting there quietly ignoring Betty's dramatics. The jury deliberated for 4 hours and returned with a verdict.
Mm-hmm.
Verdict. Norma was acquitted of the charges of manslaughter.
Mm.
She was given 3 years probation for breaking and entering to the nursery and was placed under psychiatric supervision.
Okay, seems reasonable.
Mary was found not guilty of murder.
What?
But guilty of manslaughter.
What's the difference?
Manslaughter is like they died but could have been an accident or like not.
Could have been an accident. You were fucking sitting on him, strangling him, cutting his old fella off, stabbing him in the leg, breaking his leg.
Yes.
It was an accident.
I don't...
What, like accidentally getting pregnant because you fell onto a fucking penis? Piss off.
I don't know the official term.
Oh, I get so angry with these stories.
Manslaughter, I'm pretty sure, is like they weren't... You didn't mean to murder them or something.
Oh, oopsie.
Oopsie. Justice Cusack described Mary as a dangerous individual, adding she possessed a very grave risk to other children and that steps must be taken...
Adults, I wouldn't trust a bitch.
No. And that steps must be taken to protect the public from her. At the time of her manslaughter conviction, she was 11 years old and 6 months.
Oh
Due to Mary being too young to go to a mental hospital, she was assigned to a secure school. She ended up spending 12 years in a detention, with 6 being at Red Bank Juvenile Institution, where she was the only girl among 22 boys.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
At no point did Mary seem to undergo a program to help her with her emotions and violent outbursts. No one took the time to ask her about why she started choking fellow students after she saw... she also saw her best friend get run over and killed.
When?
When she was younger.
Oh.
So they didn't like process any of her fucking thing, like that she had an unstable home life, that her mother used
Unstable? Her mum was a hard worker. She worked every night to put food on that kid's table.
They didn't ask
She
her.
worked from home so she could be with her. Like, come on. Can't blame mums for everything.
They also didn't ask her why, process that her mother used to lease her out for money to be sexually abused by older men. Speaking of a piece of shit mum.
Okay. Piece of shit, mum, yep.
Betty would visit her in the home. During these visits, the guards would just leave them alone. Mother-daughter time. She would sneak in lingerie and have Mary change into them. She would take photos of her, have the photos developed, and then sold them to tabloids or just anyone who wanted to buy them.
Oh, my God. Mother of the year.
She also insisted that Mary wrote her daily letters of poems, which she would also sell to tabloids and newspapers. At one point, Mary wrote a letter to her mum that said,
You're a cunt. Don't come visit me again.
Please, ma'am.
Please, ma'am.
Ma'am. M-A-M.
Oh.
Ma'am. Put my tiny mind at ease. Tell the judge and jury on your knees. They will listen to your cry of please. The guilty one is you, not me. I'm sorry that it has to be this way. We'll both cry and you will go away. Tell them you are guilty, please. So then, mum, I'll be free. Your daughter, May.
Yeah, but mum was guilty of turning you into a fucking psycho killer or whatever. Mum was an asshole and should be in jail for what she did to you.
Yes.
But mum didn't kill who you did.
After a while, the staff urged Mary to stop letting her mum visit. They could see how negatively the visits would impact Mary. After Betty left, Mary alternated between being completely withdrawn to extremely aggressive and violent. For example, she bashed one of the boys' face into the dining table after he called her a murderer. Like, fair.
Truth hurts sometimes, obviously.
Also,
a bit like when mum told me I was a liar when I lie about the price of things.
Yeah.
I thought that was a bit hurtful.
Liar. Also, while at the boys' home, Mary made accusations of being sexually assaulted by a staff member. These claims were unable to be substantiated, but the staff member she accused did leave the job just after it. Also, being the only girl in a boys' home.
I was waiting for there was going to be some sexual thing going on.
Oh, like you could probably just read between the lines on that one.
Okay, Megan.
Read between the lines. Read between the lines.
You read between the lines.
In November 1973, at the age of 16, she was transferred to a secure wing of HM Prison Stahl in Cheshire. In June 1976, she was transferred to Moore Court, an open prison, where she undertook a secretarial course.
Okay.
Well, she's still got her whole life ahead of her.
Well,
she's only a fucking
she's
teenager.
Yeah, exactly.
15.
That's sad.
It's fucked. 11, and you're on a murder trial.
Yeah.
15 months later, in September 1977, Mary Bell again made national headlines when she and another inmate, Annette Priest, absconded from the open prison. Both spent several days in the company of two young men in Blackpool, visiting the amusements and sleeping in various local hotels, where she used the alias Mary Robinson.
Why Robinson?
Who fucking knows? Why wouldn't you change your first name?
I don't know. I just wondered, the way you said it, I thought there was going to be a story behind the Robertson.
The fake name she used was Mary Robinson instead of Mary Bell. Come on, get creative.
Well, it could have been worse. Could have been Mary Ding. Mary Ding Dong.
Mary Doorbell.
Mary Ding Dong.
Mary was arrested at the Derbyshire home of one of the men, Clive Shirtcliffe, on the 13th of September.
Did Clive know who she was?
I don't know.
Where have you been? Oh, I've been away since I was 11.
On holiday.
Yeah.
On the 13th of September, having by this stage dyed her hair blonde in an effort to disguise her identity. So she dyes her hair but doesn't think of a better name.
Change her name, yeah.
In the last few months of her time in prison, Mary had an affair with a married man and became pregnant.
Whilst in prison. Where did the married man come from? Was he working there? Was he...
I don't know.
How do you have a fucking affair with a married man?
It was an open prison. Who knows?
Oh, my God. Okay.
Mary said she realised it would be very difficult for the father, who was a respected married man in the community. Mary said, quote, "So I had an abortion, but if I think that almost the first thing I did after 12 years in prison for killing 2 babes was to kill the baby in me, but I mean it was the only thing I could do, wasn't it?" In May 1980, at the age of 23, Mary was released. Her first job was in the local children's nursery.
Oh, what?
But the probation officers deemed this inappropriate.
Oh, thank Christ.
She took waitress jobs and attended a university, but was too discouraged to stick with it. After moving back in with her mother, she met a young man, and 4 years after her release from custody, on the 25th of May 1984, Mary gave birth to a daughter.
Poor child.
She...
Grandmother like that. Mother like that.
She also won a case at the High Court, which granted her and her daughter lifelong anonymity.
Oh, okay.
This order was approved by Dame Elizabeth Butler Sloss.
I'm wondering if that was because she was so young when the crime was
and she
committed,
was getting
and if the name was going to be connected to her entire life.
Yeah.
She was never going to have a second chance.
And the daughter.
Not that she deserved one. But
not that she deserved one. But
never going to have one.
Like, she was only 23 when she came out. Like, she's got her whole life on the outside. And she was getting, like, harassed, like, every community she went to. Like, of course, you deserve it, but, like, you want to, like, for the kid.
So what did they change their name to?
I don't know. She's got anonymity. Oh. And then the president of the family division later updated this in 2009 to include Mary's granddaughter. So her daughter and her granddaughter all have lifelong anonymity. In 1998, Mary Bell worked with author Gitta Seren on a book called Cries Unheard, Why Children Kill, the story of Mary Bell, and Mary was apparently paid £50,000 to collaborate with her on this book.
So did they finally find out why she did all that as a kid?
Not really.
Or is she just going to blame mum and her
I think
friendly ways? Is that the whole story?
That's the whole story of Mary Bell.
Oh.
There's not like that's just
I was waiting for more.
No, well, she lifelong anonymity, so no one really knows the anemone of the sea, and no one really knows what happens afterwards.
Yeah, because you can't really follow her story if she's
she's only one of 4 in, I think, England that have the lifelong. It's her, John Venables, and the other guy, the 2 boys that killed James Bolger.
Yeah.
And there's a 4th one.
Story. Ah, okay.
Yeah, there's 4 of them that have lifelong the anonymity.
That no one will ever know who they were.
But yeah, that's really fucked up. She had a really fucked up, sad childhood, and then she was a fucked up child, and then...
When I was looking at her thing here, lifelong anonymity, the right to anonymity granted to Bell's daughter following her birth was originally only extended until she had reached the age of 18. However, on 21st of May 2023, Bell won a High Court battle to include her daughter extended for life. The order approved by... There was something I read when you were... Something about the daughter didn't know... Case. Hey?
Yeah, she didn't know she was like a teenager, that what the mum had done, what Mary had done.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, something about the... Forced Bell and her 14-year-old daughter to leave home, driven to a safe house by undercover police.
Yeah.
Mother and daughter were then relocated. Yeah, at that point, the daughter had no idea who mum...
Well, you wouldn't really want to disclose.
Finding that out at 14, that your mum had spent 10 years in jail from 3 years younger than what you are now.
Yeah.
And she'd been in jail for 10 years for murder. Oh
my God. It's like the Sower murders when the girl was researching and she saw a picture of her mum and then she's like, oh my God, my dad's Ian Brady, who's a murderer in jail.
Yeah.
They'd be fucked up.
Yeah. Old Ian Brady in jail. Whew.
You have no idea what
old Ian Brady's struggling. No fucking idea who Ian Brady is.
The 2 girls that were wearing the David Beckham.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. So just need keywords.
Keywords, you'll get there.
Keywords, key pictures to bring it together.
But yeah, that was Mary Bell, one of the youngest.
Mary Bell should rot in hell. Mary Bell. What if they chanted that outside the court? I would have. I'd have been like, Mary Bell.
Burn, Bundy, burn.
Mary Bell should rot in hell. Okay.
You okay?
Stop now. I'm getting hungry. Must be nearly lunchtime.
You can follow us on Instagram at mainly_murder. You can email us at mainlymurderpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can follow us on TikTok, which I'm pretty sure is just mainly_murder.
I got no
idea.
idea.
I do post the same shit on TikTok as I do Instagram, so either, but...
Either either, neither neither. No, don't do the neither neither. Do the either either.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Okay, we're going to go put some food into her before she goes in more fucking delulu. We'll see you next Tuesday where we're in America.
Next Tuesday. America. Whereabouts in America are we going?
Not 100% sure.
Oh.
We'll find out next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.